Funmilayo Ransome-Kuti belonged to the Egba subgroup of the Yoruba people. The Yoruba trace their spiritual and cultural origin to Ile-Ife, the sacred city remembered in tradition as the place where humanity began. Over time, the Yoruba name came to describe a wider family of related peoples. Across Nigeria, Benin, Ghana, and Togo, these communities shared language connections, yet their political and local traditions were beautifully diverse. At the end of the 19th century, Yoruba-speaking communities began developing a stronger shared identity through standard orthography and missionary schools. Returnees from the Americas, Sierra Leone, and Liberia, along with a Western-educated African elite and a dynamic press, all strengthened cultural pride. This world of language, education, and anti-colonial awareness helped shape the young Funmilayo. At the Berlin Conference of 1884, European powers agreed on rules for claiming African territory. This triggered the violent scramble for Africa. Empires competed to divide the continent without African consent. By the 20th century, Britain brought many independent states under control. In 1914, Britain amalgamated the Northern and Southern Protectorates into Nigeria for economic reasons, not because the diverse peoples had chosen it. By the late 1920s, resistance to British rule moved beyond local concerns, as questions of labor, racism, and African dignity became national struggles. Funmilayo Ransome-Kuti was born on 25 October 1900 in Abeokuta, Egbaland, in present-day Ogun State, Nigeria. Her parents were Christian-schooled but deeply attached to Yoruba practices, bridging African tradition and colonial change. After studying abroad, Funmilayo dropped her European names, her experience with racism strengthening her commitment to African identity. She returned to Nigeria in 1922 with sharpened awareness, a desire to serve her people, and names that reflected Yoruba cultural pride. Funmilayo was one of the first girls educated at Abeokuta Grammar School. She wanted women to read, write, and defend their communities. After 1914, British indirect rule concentrated power in male rulers. Women were excluded from political institutions where they once held influence. In 1929, the Women's War swept across southeastern Nigeria, challenging taxation, social injustice, and economic oppression. Yoruba women were historically powerful in trade. In Lagos, the Market Women's Association challenged oppressive colonial laws and direct taxation. Funmilayo understood that women needed a new kind of organization. Her Abeokuta Ladies Club became a mass political movement for market women. Yoruba became the main language of communication, and the organization reached an estimated membership of around 20,000 women. During World War II, market women in Western Nigeria struggled against food quotas, price controls, and confiscations. The market became a battleground. The Alake of Abeokuta was paid by the colonial government to enforce tax laws. If women refused to pay, they could be beaten or arrested. The women of Abeokuta demanded an end to taxation without democratic representation. They transformed suffering into organized political power. In November 1947, 10,000 women marched on the palace. Their singing, dancing, and unity became instruments of cultural resistance. In April 1948, a march through Abeokuta led to the suspension of direct taxation on women. It was a victory for organized discipline. On 3rd January 1949, the Alake was forced to abdicate. It remains a powerful lesson. Authority must serve the people or lose its legitimacy. The movement became a model for women's rights across Nigeria, opening branches from Calabar to Kano. Funmilayo insisted on shared humanity. Her activism connected local African struggles with global movements for anti-colonialism, women's rights, and peace across the world. Funmilayo Ransome-Kuti opposed ethnic division, working with the NCNC to protest the Richards Constitution that had been imposed without debate. Her leadership was deeply African, using language, dress, and songs to defend culture against colonial distortion and internal injustice. Through her children, Fela, Beko, and Olikoye, her spirit continued to shape African music, public health, and human rights. She was named member of the Order of the Niger and awarded the Lenin Peace Prize for her contribution to education and international solidarity. Funmilayo Ransome-Kuti died on 13th April 1978. She became an ancestor of African feminism, Pan-African resistance, and cultural pride. Remembered as the Lioness of Lisabi, she showed that African identity was not backward, but a source of strength and dignity. Her life is a call to rise with knowledge and serve with love. One courageous woman can awaken a market, a city, and a nation